Who would have thought that the Bristol pilgrimage would bring me to Edinburgh? Ever since I saw the replica Deathmask in Calcutta, I wanted to see the original. Carla had established the fact that it had ended up in Edinburgh, possibly at the medical school. When I called around all the likely places, no one had heard of RamMohun Roy or his Deathmask. It was the modern marvel of the internet that finally came to my aid. By doing various searches with RamMohun and Deathmask, I was finally able to locate a site that was selling replica Deathmask for £250 to £450, literally per head. Amazingly enough, a replica of RamMohun Roy's Deathmask was also on this online catalogue. The site, belonging to the William Ramsay Henderson Trust, named Professor Matthew Kaufman as its contact. After several attempts, on the 27th of April 2004, an email from Professor Kaufman, University of Edinburgh Medical School, confirmed that the Deathmask was indeed in their possession, but on permanent loan to a storage facility of the Scottish National Portrait Gallery in Granton. An email from its custodians confirmed that the original Deathmask with the reference number and Roy, spelled Punjabi style with an I, was at the Granton facility. It took 6 months of negotiations via email and phone calls to secure the permission to see and film the mask, not in public view since 1886. Next morning, I arrived early in the desolate area near the waterfront. The impressively named Granton Art Centre was in fact only a storage facility. There are no exhibitions and it is not open to the public. As I wondered where I could get some coffee, my main contact person arrived.
Yes, you can.
Alan Barkis, a former policeman with a soft corner for the arts, looks after this facility. He was the person who 6 months ago had confirmed for me on the phone that the original plaster cast was indeed there. He had made the special visit on a Saturday with his wife when the facility was closed, just to help me out.
This Deathmask is not normally on display. I don't know if Anne will explain that to you, would you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's okay, thanks.
Alan had taken the trouble to bring out the mask from the shelves to put it on display for filming from different angles. Finally, there it was, an exact image in 3 dimensions of this giant of the Indian Renaissance, within hours of his death 171 years ago. Even if photography had been invented by then, there would be no way to get such a complete picture of the Rajah's appearance, but for this simple measure that belied the remarkable foresight of Dr. Eslin. It became apparent that the Calcutta mask was not a replica after all. The original showed somewhat smaller and asymmetric ears. It also seemed smaller in size, normal for a Bengali gentleman about 6 feet tall today, but perhaps big in volume for the period as reported in contemporary accounts. It seemed somewhat elongated from the side, as casts from the front and the back seemed to be imperfectly joined together. The study of the shape and protuberances of the head, called phrenology, was popular in Scotland at the time. It was believed to reveal character and mental capacity. The Rajah's head was charted and studied in great detail, very likely by noted phrenologists Gall and Combe, themselves immortalized by their own death masks. His head was believed to reveal traits of firmness, conscientiousness, self-esteem, and love of approbation. The last quality was believed to explain his chief flaw, which was his inability to say no, an Asian trait of acquiescence that sometimes put him in an awkward corner. Even there, Land Carpenter rose vehemently to his defense, explaining that that was part of his indulgent Eastern etiquette, and that no man stood more firmly in the face of adversity than the Rajah when the situation truly demanded it. The phrenologists also found traits of secretiveness, combativeness, benevolence and pessimism in him that they sought to reconcile with his life, and the attempt seems at once quaint and interesting, if not entertaining. His lack of veneration and wonder was believed to be the reason why he placed so little stock in the tales of miracle of any faith, and valued logical thinking above all else. Even though phrenology is now discredited as a science, the Deathmask of RamMohun, commissioned by his friends, belies the esteem they had for him and his deeds. The company he keeps in this extraordinary shrine speaks for itself. Samuel Johnson, Jonathan Swift, William Wordsworth, Walter Scott, Isambard Kingdom Brunel, Franz Joseph Haydn, Isaac Newton, as well as his friends in his mortal life, Jeremy Bentham, with whom he corresponded extensively, and William Roscoe. The anguish of the last breath drawn, sometimes still written on their faces. The Rajah, by contrast, looks peaceful and recognizable from the Pyrenees Briggs portrait. The Peel portrait, showing a stout face, however, seems a poor likeness, unless it was commenced at a time when the Rajah had put on weight, as reported by the Sanskrit scholar Wilson. Dr. Estlin did not record a rapid weight loss during his last illness. From the Edinburgh Castle that evening, while enjoying a panoramic view of the waterfront, called the Firth of Forth, where Granton is located, I bade goodbye to the Deathmask in its abode of quiet Scottish hospitality for nearly 2 centuries.